Hello, everyone, and welcome to Al-Tru-Ism Spirit Talk Awakening. I'm very excited. This is our very first show, our inaugural show, and I have with me the incredible Jodi Parry. How you going, Jodi?
Good, Al. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So today we are going to start off with self-healing is one of the things we're going to talk about, amongst other things, because you have a most incredible story about self-healing, and it's something I've been getting into a lot just recently as well, having been a chronic pain sufferer over the years and that sort of thing. So how about just tell us, your story is incredible. So
what happened?
Yeah, tell us what happened.
At the start of 2020, I noticed a lump in my throat, and it was unlike any other thing that I've felt before, because it was very apparent, and it felt like it was going to be life-changing, to be honest. Anyway, I went through all of the tests and the biopsies and stuff, and it was cancer. And I sort of knew. I knew it was from the moment I first felt it. And then I ended up having to go into surgery, and it was like in the middle of the first lockdown. So everything was like really panicky, and they rushed me into private hospital, and I got the right side, which was where the lump was, taken out of my thyroid. And then when they tested it, it was malignant. So it was cancer, definitely. They said, you've got to go back and get the left side out. And, you know, living in fear, as we do. As
you would. I mean, thyroid cancer, cancer is a very big fear. It's life, it's everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't get a bigger fear.
No, the giant C.
Yeah.
So something happened when I went to get the left side out, and I can only describe it as a near-death experience. I actually woke up during surgery and became aware, so I could see and feel and hear everything that was happening.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was right at the beginning of the surgery, so I actually could feel the surgeon ripping off the stitches from the first surgery. Oh. And as you can imagine, being quite panicked, I was trying to move or say that I was awake or do something, but I couldn't. And it basically got to the point of fear where I said, this is it. I'm going to use my last bout of energy to just try to move my finger or try to scream. And so I went to take a big breath, and I couldn't inflate my lungs. And then basically it felt what I would imagine to be like drowning.
Wow.
Because I couldn't do anything. The only thing I could do was surrender. And I did. And then I got this huge wave of peace over me. And just basically the feeling of being completely held. And then everything just sort of went black. And then when I woke up, I was like, I was awake, back into the panic mode. And after that, I guess the gift that was given to me was that no one outside of me has the power to heal me, fix me, change me. It is all me. And so with the power of my belief, I have been able to overcome a lifelong sentence of medication by regrowing enough cells of my thyroid through pure belief and frequency healing to not have to take medication anymore.
Well, so after the surgery, what did they say that you were supposed to do, as far as medication or that sort of thing, and what would be the effects if you didn't take it?
So basically the surgeon said I had to get radiation, and I explained to him that I didn't want to get radiation. I wasn't in fear of it coming back. I wasn't in fear. I could feel when I had it, and I could feel that it was gone.
Yeah.
And he basically kept going and going and going and pushing me into this radiation until I cracked, and I said, I don't want it. And I stood up and yelled. And his response was, if I was you, I wouldn't get it either. It was probably going to do more harm than good. And that really, really came through to me, because for that point in time, he saw me as a person instead of just a number, a patient.
He's sitting there convincing you to have it, and then finally says he wouldn't have it himself? What the fuck?
Yes. So I said that. I said, how could you sit here and tell me to get something that's going to make me worse? And he said, it's my job. And you know what? It was such a gift and a blessing, because my beautiful husband was sitting next to me, and he was worried. He was worried that if I didn't get radiation, is it going to come back? Am I going to die? You know, all of the things. And he needed that. He needed to hear that. I already knew. Yeah. He needed to hear that they're just doing a job. But the biggest thing that I needed to know as well is that they don't realise he wasn't seeing me as a person. He wasn't trying to destroy my life. He was doing what he was told unconsciously.
Programming.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Conditioning. And I think a lot of people forget with doctors and that it is their job, and they do it day in, day out. Yeah. Like anyone in any job, you know. So, it's, wow. So you didn't take any of the medication, and
I did.
You did for a while, yeah?
Yeah. So I did for, so I only stopped the beginning of this year. So I've been off it for about 7-8 months.
Yeah.
But what I did was take the recommended. Then I was on a thyroid group on Facebook, and for a split second I saw a post about a girl who grew back enough cells to get off medication. And that was just basically spirit going, hey, this is possible. Because after I went back and tried to search to talk to her, and I could not find it. And so it was up to me then. But something weird happened when I was listening to, I think it was 1111 Portal, and I felt something really happening in my throat, and I was like, I freaked out. I was like, what's going on? But it was the cell regeneration. Oh. And so from that day forward, I welcomed and allowed that to occur. And so I just kept focusing all of my energy on this beautiful healing. I know you have everything in you to heal. I know that's what my gift is, you know. I know we all have the ability to do it. You just got to believe it. And so I stopped. I weaned myself onto natural, which was swine hormone, because you can't actually have natural thyroid hormone. You have to go take like a pig is the most natural.
Yeah.
And then within, I think I was only on that for a month. And then I went to a friend. I'd stopped taking it. And then when I had like when I'd freak out or fear would come in, I noticed a difference in my body, and it was almost like rejecting it. And I was like, okay. And then I went to my beautiful friend who's a kinesiologist, and she muscle tested me, and the body said that the medication wasn't a priority. And that was the last little bit that I needed to just go, I'm not doing it.
Wow, yeah.
But apparently without this medication, you'll be in a coma within 2 weeks, and it will lead to death.
Oh, really? Yeah. So what, am I talking to a ghost?
Yeah. I'm actually at the point where I'm like, can I even die?
Are you actually here?
Am I? Yeah. Is this the afterlife?
If it is, it's pretty cool.
That's right. That's why I'm like, actually, shit's gotten really real. So, yeah.
So, and then I guess it had So you did frequency medication of some sort with, what exactly was that?
So it started with that portal, which was just a random YouTube thing. And I just noticed it. And then I was like, whoa. And then I started noticing it more and more. So I did a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, one of my favourites, yeah.
Yes, he's amazing. And just basically putting the focus on that healing and just welcoming it. It was almost like Dr. Joe talks a lot about it's already happened. You're already healed. Yeah. You're just walking into it, basically. And so there was a lot of that retraining of the mind, removing the limiting beliefs, and just walking into this future of where I'm destined to be, which is healed. Yes.
Dr. Joe was huge in one of my Great Awakenings. In fact, he was pivotal in both of them, actually. So what I liked about his book, Becoming Supernatural, was it was a scientific approach. And even though I've been in the spiritual path on and off for quite a few years, that analytical, scientific approach explained a lot as well, and your frequency and being in the sympathetic nervous system versus a parasympathetic nervous system. I think there's got a huge amount to do with healing as well. Yeah. To do that. So, I love Dr. Joe. He's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I'm a lot into metaphysical anatomy is one amazing book that I refer to. And it's how every ailment has a metaphysical connection with an emotion. And, I looked into this, and cancer was very much connected to how you felt when you were growing up with your parents and things like that. So there was lots of things, but basically allowing yourself to be open and aware to the tools that need to be presented for you to move forward into the place where you're going to be, I think was a big game changer. Yeah.
Yeah, and to get out of that, we talk about it all the time, your conditioning and programming and that sort of thing, and it happens from the time we're little, and to be just open to just at least to start to be open to changing your beliefs and that sort of thing, because what we believe is our truth, and if you believe something, it's true.
That's right.
But we change our beliefs all through our life.
That's
our beliefs change. Different people have got different beliefs. So, what is truth?
It is whatever it is to you.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it?
And then we get into collective consciousness, truth, and that sort of thing. I've been saying for years that, truth is merely a consensus of belief. That's all it is.
That's right.
Because years ago, doctors used to tell you that smoking was good for you. Back in the 40s, help exercise your lungs or whatever it is they used to say. And everyone believed it, and it was true.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up that topic, because I was talking about this with a friend the other day. And you know how, obviously your beliefs create your reality and how your body functions even. How your cells are. Yeah. And we now have cigarette packets with horrible images on them. And so basically every time a smoker would be having a cigarette, they're going to think this is happening to me. This is occurring inside me. And so what does that do? That makes it happen.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, the whole smoking, because back when it first came out, when it was good for you, people will live until 100.
Yeah.
Smokers, I'm sure that's a slight exaggeration.
Well, some smokers.
But that's right. And then, it was almost like they said that it got passed down generationally, the illness caused from the smoking. But is it just the beliefs were adapted, were changed? So it's very interesting. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It is very interesting. And talking about the whole self-healing and how we can heal ourselves, I've had a few experiences, and it's something I'm into now myself, where I got into Dr. Joe and did his third eye exercise and the blessing of the energy centers, and I did that one meditation for 3 years. I never did anything else. until it all started happening for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had severe back pain for many years and a few operations. And one day years ago, before that, I decided, no, stuff this. Everyone had asked me, how's your back? And it's stuffed, you know, it hurts, you know.
Yeah.
And so I started telling them, it's not, doesn't hurt. No, my back's fine. And they'd look at me all weird, you know.
Yeah.
And it still hurt and it was still everything. And no, I'm going to fake it till I make it.
That's right.
And that's exactly what I did. Over a period of time, I reduced my back pain by about 80%. And then I've had permanent sciatica for 30 years, 24/7. Sometimes it feels like I'm getting a knife shoved up my foot and broken ankles and all over the place and nerve damage. Anyway, I'm very careful how I talk about it. And that thing that they call sciatica is now actually going. And same, I said, I don't have sciatica anymore. Right? And I put my energy down there, and we'll talk about how we do that in a little while maybe. And now the sciatica, that thing called sciatica that I used to have, I'm noticing I don't have that anymore. So for the first time since I was a teenager, I am pain-free. And you think of the effect that has on people, all sorts of people, because as soon as you're in pain, you're in the sympathetic nervous system. So you're in depletion mode. So I was in depletion mode for 30 years.
Yeah.
That's why I've got so much energy now.
That's it. You just let it all in.
Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it?
And basically the placebo effect.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't tell you that you can heal yourself, what does?
That's right.
It's just the placebo effect, right? Because what's happening is you're believing it. And what happens when you believe something? It means you're using your imagination and believing it because it's a placebo. So how can it actually do anything if it's not doing anything? It's just a sugar pill. It's your imagination, your belief, your imagination that does it.
Yeah.
But we are told from the time we are little tackers, it's just your imagination. Stop dreaming, you know. Get your head out of the clouds.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is the total opposite. We should believe our imagination.
That's right.
Because that's where the power is.
The power to create your reality.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? I love it.
It is, and I've got a few examples of that. Lots of examples, but people use their imagination every day, all day, but it seems as though it's been conditioned and programmed in us to be structured. People wake up in the morning, they've got a bit of anxiety because I don't want to go to work, and they imagine what's going to happen at work that day. You imagine, you know, what your spouse is feeling or thinking. You know, we spend all day imagining, but we call it thinking instead of imagining. But it's not. So when you start to realise that your imagination can do incredible, wonderful things for you, then what I'm doing of late is I'm training myself to believe my imagination. Because then we move into manifestation, right? Where all you have to do is just, you know, manifest something, is just believe it and you can manifest it. Well, it's the believing that's the hard part. It's not easy.
That's right.
You know, you have to actually believe it.
That's right. Yeah. I follow Bruce Lipton. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. So he very much. I came across him when I had a few insights come through about, and the big one was, oh my God, your beliefs are creating your reality, right? And I'm so blessed that he came into my field, which is not an accident at all. But one thing that he said that really stuck out to me was, he had the same insight and he gathered all these people together and he said, your beliefs are creating your reality, people. And they all looked around and they were like, okay, prove it. And he was like, oh, I've got to prove it. And so that's what he's gone on and done. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm on a very similar journey because it's just like, okay, I can sit there and tell someone something, but I'm going to be the living, walking, breathing, speaking truth of what I'm preaching. And it's funny because it's like, I feel like the things that we overcome in our life are the things that we're going to be able to assist others to overcome.
Oh, definitely. I think, I mean, you move into the subject of awakening. What were you like before the thyroid cancer? Before that, as far as spirituality and awakening, But did your journey start from the thyroid, or had you been doing stuff before that?
I mean, there's different layers, but I was very, very unconscious.
Yeah.
Extremely, actually. There's things that happened that I can see now were trying to trigger me awake.
Yeah.
Basically. Like from my son being in hospital, like, you know, only a few days after getting one of the shots and things like that. There's just little things along the way that were present that I had no idea. And so I really feel like, and it often does take someone a huge smack in the face to go, wake up. Life isn't what you've been thinking, what you've been living.
Well, from my experience, I think it takes that for everyone to wake up, because how can you question, your existence and everything and the way things are unless you're at a point where you really need to question it? It's just like the feather, the brick and the bus. You know, you get the feather. You haven't heard that one? So you get the feather, it's telling you something, right? And you get, you know, there's a bit more to life than what I think, right? Yeah. And then the brick, let's say the brick for you was your son, right?
Yeah.
So that's a brick. That's telling you that there's something, you know, there's more to this and everything. Yeah. And then, of course, you got hit by the thyroid bus.
Yeah.
So,
and I was like, I'm awake now.
And it seems to be for everyone that you're not going to have these incredible intuitive experiences and move into this incredible world unless you have reached a really low point at some point in your life. And of course, that's what happened to me several times. I mean, I used to have anxiety and depression, and been a psychologist, psychiatrist, psychotherapist, anger management, counselling, group counselling, drug counselling, you name it. I did a lot, but it took me to have an ego death, what I now know is an ego death, to question things and to start to move into what I'm doing now. And I think when you've had all those experiences, it gives you an outlook where you can, and then I'll move into, you know, to service. I really love being of service because it makes me feel good. Yeah. You know, there's even a selfish side of it where I know wherever I'm of service and do things and give things away energetically and that, it just makes me feel better.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And I've just started on a new course, which is basically he teaches service is ascension. Here we are, you know, often the monks want to go, and nothing wrong with anybody, but to go out and be on your own in the middle of the forest is one thing. But to live in the world with all of the triggers and all of the pressure, that's where it is. And to be of service through all of that is how you grow a lot quicker. You know, but times, you know, because times have changed. The ascension is the vibrations, we're getting pushed so quickly because the next wave's coming and we need to be ready to help them.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And with you, when you were saying about the depression and the anxiety and stuff, I had this image the other day of like a fuse. So before, you know, at the end of the fuse is all this dynamite. Yeah. And that's all those things. That's all the depression, the anxiety, the illness, all of the things. And so when that fuse finally reaches a point and it blows up, all of those things, all of that fuel is what you then have to relate to everybody else in your service because you know what it was like. You lived it. And now you've come through the other side, and that's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I absolutely love my life now.
Yes, me too. It's only just getting better.
I am nowhere near what I used to, and I live a very simple life, but to say to people, I'm going to just sit out the back and stare at the blades of grass for 3 hours, not a problem. Yeah. Although that is, you know, slightly monkish in its way. But it's good to have that time out and do that as well and have that balance, you know, and do other stuff as well. So, yeah, and it is really all about the energy, isn't it? I mean, both Tesla and Einstein said the future of medicine will be in frequency.
That's right.
So
absolutely.
And the realization of the fact that it is literally a matrix, and it is literally all illusion, but it's not at the same time.
Yes.
Because it's all vibration through electromagnetism, right? We're made of atoms, which are 99.9999999% space. That gives me an idea for a song I'm going to play in a little while, if I can remember the words. And so everything is made of atoms. Like the wood here is made of atoms, but they're just so dense because they have a really low vibration.
That's right.
Very, very low vibration, right? And as humans here, we have this vibration within us as well. So people say you vibe and everything. It's literally true.
100%.
Everything is vibration. So you can have a day where nothing much has changed, but you're feeling low, the emotions that, again, are linked to vibration, right? Your lower vibration is a lower emotion. And you look at the world and it's not a very nice world. It's a terrible world. And the next day you might have a really high vibration, you're vibing, and it's a wonderful world.
Yep.
How's the world change? It's still,
That's right.
How's it change? So that vibration that goes through us, that we create ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, is the magic. And I guess it's the knowingly doing it that basically to me is awakening.
That's
to be a realization and knowing that we have vibration and electromagnetism having this incredible human experience.
Yes, because before that, I believe, you're victim to it, and you don't know that you have a choice. You're not aware of what's occurring. And it's funny how they say, like, they're referred to as puppets and things like that. And it's an autopilot is another one. And it's because we are just literally living in this beautiful construct of the ego. And I say beautiful because we need to love it, because it's just been misled in how basically it's going to serve us, because we are being a victim of it, as opposed to when you become aware and awakened, you see that you can flip it and you can use the ego to benefit your life, basically.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of talk about how bad the ego is and all that, but it's not. It's just out of balance. It's like the brain and thinking is out of balance with the heart.
You're being controlled.
The heart has a lot more intelligence to it than the brain. I can't remember in Dr. Joe's book, he talks about the connections from the heart to the brain are 3 times as much as from the brain to the heart. So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
But we live through our head. That's the way we've been taught to do from the time we're little, You go to school and you have to sit there and be quiet and do the most unnatural thing for a kid all day long. And you're always getting told off, don't do this, don't do that, behave, all this sort of stuff. I mean, a child should be running in the bush and free and, learning, but not being told to sit in a chair all day. You sit there for 6 hours a day, and if you move, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
That's how crazy is that? That's about the most unnatural thing I could ever think of.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And then our life goes on from that, and it just continues and continues.
Yeah.
And we have these blinkers on and we don't think about it.
Yeah.
And then everyone wonders why they suffer from stress and anxiety and depression because they're not living the beautiful, incredible, natural, wonderful, magical lives that we should be living.
That's right. It's really an incredible journey. Like, it's so funny now how, you used to watch movies, say when you're unconscious and you used to watch movies and you'd be like, whoa, this is really intense, like on the edge of your seat. Life is that now.
Yeah.
Life is that. And then you walk outside and you're like, show me magic, and there's eagles in the sky. And you're like, what on earth is this? You are living magic. It's incredible.
That's right. Yeah, we are. And and the magic is real because we've been taught for many, many years that it's not real. Why? I don't know. It doesn't matter why. There's just a realization that everything, if you think it and imagine it's real. So I guess for an example for me is I'm lucky I have this, I call it Kundalini energy. It could be chi, prana, whatever you want to call it. And Eckhart Tolle first taught me a meditation of where you just dissolve your body and you move into whatever you're doing. And during that meditation, I had this incredible euphoria that I'd never felt before, right? This incredible, I call it full body orgasm type thing, you know, and nothing like it. And I was sitting working in offshore oil and gas, sitting in my cabin, and I'd been trying to do this meditation for a while. And then all of a sudden it just worked. But not only that, I went out across the ocean and then out onto the edge of the earth, sort of looking down. And of course, afterwards I'm thinking, wow, that was a cool imagination. It wasn't imagination, I was astral travelling and I didn't know it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what's so fun.
Yeah.
And it's really incredible, and it's become really apparent to me that if you think about everything that has happened in your life, right? Yeah. I really am so grateful that it has occurred the way it has. And I know we can say, you know, it's unfair and it's this and it's that, and we've been indoctrinated and all of the things, which is true. But to rediscover the magic has been so worth it for me, because if I woke up, if I was born into the magic, yes, that would be a life of bliss, which is basically that's our true nature, right?
Yeah.
But
bliss out.
That's right. But to wake up and go through all of this to then come to a point of awakening is phenomenal. Like, just being cracked open to, whoa, life is nothing like I thought it was, and I get to rediscover it all over again in a different way.